the conservation of linear momentum. The conservation of linear momentum says that at some situation you may have delta p equal to 0 or simply p initial equal to p final. Okay, that's a conservation of the momentum. This equation can be applied to either individual momentum or the total momentum. If you are considering an individual object, this is a trivial equation. Okay. Think about if one object, we say if you have one object, the momentum is conserved for that object, what happens? Initial momentum mv naught, the final momentum is mv. If they are the same, and mass cancels, so you get v naught equals to v. Basically, simply says that if the momentum is conserved, the object is under a constant velocity motion. Okay, the velocity is a constant. But the very useful form is if you have several objects, and if the total momentum is conserved. For example, if you have two objects, and so let's say two objects, m1, velocity v1, m2, v2. After some process like collision or whatever, okay, then the two objects m1, m2 acquires some different velocity, say u1 and u2. Okay, here we use v1, v2 to denote the initial velocity, u1, u2 to denote the final velocities for the two objects. Then, if we know that the momentum is conserved, the total momentum is conserved for the whole system. So we should have the equation m1v1 plus m2v2 equals to m1u1 plus m2u2. This will give us a very powerful equation to calculate some quantities. For example, if we know v1, v2, the two initial velocities, if we somehow know one of the final velocity, then we can calculate another final velocity. Okay. So this is momentum conservation. Okay, but of course, just as we use mechanical energy conservation and total mechanical energy conservation, we have to know what kind of system or under what condition, what situations you can apply the momentum conservation. So when the momentum is conserved and when it's not conserved. So in fact, let's look at this equation. Okay. Or you look at the impulse momentum theorem. F multiplied by delta T equals to delta P. If you want to make sure delta P equals to 0, the right-hand side of this equation equals to 0, you have to make the left-hand side of the equation equals to 0, right? And there are two quantities, so you have two possibilities. Either make delta T equals to 0, but in fact that's impossible. Any physical process takes some time. You cannot make contact time 0. So the only possibility is to make the force equals to 0. Okay? So there is no force acting on the system. If there is no force acting on the system's momentum will be conserved. Okay? And please note that when we talk about system, so the force here is the external force of the system. Okay, it has nothing to do with the internal force. So it gives us a very powerful approximation. So whenever the internal force is much larger than the external force, so compare with the external force can be discarded, can be neglected. So in that case, the momentum is approximately conserved. So that happens for the collision and explosion process. Okay. So for the collision and explosion process, since the internal force is huge, so even you may have some external force, you don't have to consider. So basically what we have to know is that if you have collision or explosion process, the momentum is always conserved. Okay. Generally, it should be external force equal to 0. Okay, one of the example is Newton's Greydale, okay, Newton's collision bore. So if you look at this, if I, okay, it releases this ball from here. So you can see at the other side, it will going to knock out just one ball, okay, because the momentum has been conserved. So how many momentum you input at the initial collision, finally you get as much as the momentum output. Okay. So for this process, in fact, you have a sequence of the collision. So this one collide with this one, propagate the momentum to this bore, and the second bore collide with the third bore, propagate the momentum to the second bore, third bore, and then collide this bore, and then collide with this bore to propagate the momentum all the way. Okay. And you can see if I release two bores, it will knock out two bores, right? If I release four bores,
Yeah.
okay, it will knock out four bores, right?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Huh? Four bores.
That's why the Wednesday.
So because if you have four bores released as the initial input, so it will not just release one, it will release four. So the four will move like this way. Okay, so again, some complicated momentum conservation. Okay, but it should be always conserved. How many inputs, you have how many outputs. And if I do this way, so you see, there is no output, net output, right? So it will keep this. Because I have the momentum from both sides in the opposite direction, so it wouldn't make any net movement to the left or right. Or if I release two from this side, two from this side, okay? That's the momentum conservation.
I release four one more time.
What? Let's see what happened.
Oh, they're swapping.
You said all three. Like
that?
2 and 3.
Yeah?
It's the same.
Yeah. Oh.
Let's see what happened.
Yeah.
The center ball keeps switching from both sides to keep the momentum balance.
Momentum.
Basically, if you want to analyze, you have to do more careful tracking of each ball. But basically, the idea is that it has to conserve the total momentum.